What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Best Damn Deck here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name is Tam, and today I'm going to be telling you why I believe that Cassie Cage is the best damn deck in UniVersus. For my new people out there, thank you for joining. What Best Damn Deck's job is to teach you about these really awesome, amazing characters and the potential that these decks have, showing them their strengths and their weaknesses, and just overall the exciting character that is Cassie Cage. So, what we're going to be going over today as I talk about Cassie is what this character does, why that thing is good, interesting interactions with the character, overcoming this character's weaknesses, and my final thoughts on the character as a whole. So, Cassie Cage. She is a 6-hand size character with 27 life. She has all earth and good as her symbols. Enhance, your non-throw, very important, attack gets +1 speed or +1 damage for each non-attack card preceding it in your card pool. Enhance once per turn, add 1 card from your staging area to the beginning of your card pool, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may add 1 foundation reveal this way to your staging area, and then the remaining cards to the top of your deck in any order. Wow, that's a mouthful. So why is this good? What Cassie Cage does is she gives some fairly generic stats, speed, or damage, depending on what you need, depending on the cards in your card pool. As well as she cheats. She gets to see her next 2 checks. She gets to replace a committed foundation with a ready foundation from the top of her deck, and then pick the 2 checks that she wants. If she sees an attack in a foundation and she wants to see the attack first, maybe checking it with a sense of morals or something to attempt to ready a card, she'll get rid of the bad check and then guarantee past the next thing. She gets so much free information. She is value the character. Let me explain what that means. Cassie Cage is an expert at doing what I call pre-building. What pre-building is where you take and you build a couple foundations and then you start throwing your attacks. That's what our whole kit's based around. Every character can do this. She just gets a bonus around it, where you are intermittently throwing foundations into your card pool, increasing your progressive difficulty, yes. But at the end of your turn, you bring all of those cards down, and every card that you committed in order to keep slinging these attacks, keep slinging these cards, you've replaced them all with ready foundations. So having 5 foundations at the start of your turn, building 3 into your card pool, having to commit 2 in order to place some attacks, and bringing them all down, you netted yourself +1 or 2 foundations, still kept the committed ones. If they don't kill you, if they don't put you at such a negative spot in the game, you have a really good chance to defend yourself as you pre-build. In addition to that, she gets speed or damage depending on how much you pre-build, as well as how many. Her pre-builds are really good because of how many free cards she gets to add into the card pool. So she gets to add things like Sense of Morals. She gets to add things at time of recording of Season Guide, Reborn Human. These are all cards that don't count towards progressive in order to get to pre-build and then sling some big attacks. In addition to that, I think honestly, like her best ability, the once per turn, she gets to take and see the top cards of her deck, and she gets to replace a committed foundation with a bad one. She gets to take a committed foundation and throw it up into her card pool, and then replace it. Throwing it up into the card pool is not a negative because of the pre-building and getting the pluses, and you get to throw things up like Sense of Morals. You get to throw things up like face downs that are useless. They're just going to go to your discard pile anyways. Let's get them out of there. Let's get some fresh ammo for my flip effects. So things like Fei or the like, that are really, really strong flip effects that are just dead in your stage, or you're dead in your staging area. You toss them up into your card pool and you get rid of them for whenever you cycle back through your deck. So some interesting interactions with this character. This character is very vanilla, some would say bad on paper, but because of her kit, because of how she interacts with all the cards under her 3 symbols, all earth and good, she's got some really interesting techie stuff that she can do. So let's just talk about her kit to begin with. Let's talk about her 4 attacks, because I believe all 4 of her attacks should be played inside of her, sometimes at 4 ofs. Akimbo says that you draw cards, you hit hard with Akimbo's ability, And then with Cassie, you take and you pump the speed stat on it. So it's a 4 diff that draws cards and hits you really hard and really fast. Glow Kick is a 4 diff that can let you draw a card or add more cards into your card pool, probably not counting towards progressive because there's Sense of Morals, and it gives speed. So with Cassie, you give it damage. And so it's a 4 diff that hits hard and hits fast and possibly draws you a card. Nutcracker is a card that says enhance, add a card from your discard pile into your card pool. Probably something that doesn't count as progressive. Draw an additional card. Maybe one of the 2 cards that you stacked on top of your deck because you used Cassie's ability. And then you take and give speed, give damage, and if your opponent's character is male, it gives 4 more damage. So with Cassie, you give it speed. So it's a 4 diff foundation that is fast, hits hard, draws an extra card, if you're getting my point. And her one outlier card is called Power Flip, which is actually a 5 difficulty, holy cannoli, that says enhance, take every foundation in your staging area and every foundation in your card pool and add it to your staging area. So the card that you popped up with Cassie, you get to bring it back down. It's also a reversal. So I can add a card into my card pool, block, play my reversal, then move them both back down. I only have 1 card counting towards progressive difficulty, depending. The last big interaction inside of her kit that personally I think is unfair is a card called Shadow Inheritance. Shadow Inheritance says response before a block is made, commit this card, increase your opponent's block modifier by 1 for every card in your card pool, for every non-attack card in your card pool, or decrease your block modifier by 3 for every non-attack card in your card pool. So I'll throw 3 foundations up into my card pool accidentally, or I'll block a couple times. I have to block this card super late in the chain. I will respond with a Shadow Inheritance, reduce my block modifier by 9, and then block this card. It's so easy to just free block things with Shadow Inheritance. And when you get to see them, when you enhance with Cassie, you get to take and look at the top 3 cards. Oh, this one's a Shadow Inheritance. I'll bring that down. There's some times where a quick Cassie player can open up 2 Shadow Inheritance and on the next turn see a 3rd one. You're losing that game. That game is over for you. Scoop them up, go to the next one. She's just going to out-control you with this singular response alone. In addition to that, it's got a Cassie enhance that is another version of Cassie. Increase speed or damage. So my last final thing is under the good symbol currently, there's a card from the most recent set at time of recording, Yu Yu Hakusho, called Spirit Shotgun that says, enhance, this attack gains plus X damage. X equals the number of resource symbols in your card pool that match with your character. Cassie's really good at playing her own stuff. She's really, really good at it. And so you flood your deck with all of Cassie's own support with the foundations and attacks, and you play these big strings, and you play a Spirit Shotgun at the end. And Spirit Shotgun gets 50 damage. And this is really good. Cassie's ability, I'll remind you, says your non-throw attack gets +1 speed or +1 damage. Spirit Shotgun has another enhanced ability that says, enhance, if this attack is full blocked, it still deals half damage. That is the text of the word throw without being the keyword throw. So under the good symbol, Cassie can load up her card pool with some amazing, wonderful, awesome cards, doing all of her normal Cassie stuff, playing all these cheap foundations, play a Spirit Shotgun at the end, give it 15 damage with itself, give it another 6 damage with Cassie because it's not a throw, and then give it the throw ability. Oh, it's so strong. It just ends games on turn 2. Boom, I shotgunned you to death on Cassie Cage. Take that. Blow a piece of bubble gum, stick it on your forehead. Super, super crazy stuff. Overcoming weaknesses for Cassie. So Cassie's big issue is under the all symbol, which is what she's primarily played under at time of recording. There's not a lot of deadlock pressure, and so it's very easy to outbuild Cassie. She has to stay around 10 foundations because the all symbol doesn't do very much for deadlock, and her game plan is a little hindered under the good and earth symbol at time of recording. Maybe somebody's got some spice. I'd love to see it in the comments down below. But it is possible just to outpace her tempo-wise and just end up beating her resource-wise. Having things like Face of a Monster, having things like overly dramatic in order to pick up attacks, having things like Missile Launcher in order to, or Dark Cherry Toe if you catch her without the low block. It's possible you just end her life. In addition to that, she is very dependent on checking well on the attack that she plays. So if you have anything that hacks a check like Vega or Akuma or Morgan or Maze Castle, you can take and end that one big attack and then she's done for the turn. Or maybe you take and you let her do all her stuff. I'll increase the damage by 14. I'll increase the damage by 6. You choose not to block, I'll play the card Deliverance, or I'll put your attack back to printed. Cassie Cage cannot handle her attacks being put back to printed because she spent all this work and spent all this progressive difficulty increasing the damage, increasing the speed, and then you just said that you wasted your turn. It sucks. It stinks. The very last thing is Breaker obliterates this character. So anything that you have that you can stop Breaker by either playing things that cancel Breaker from happening, like Profane Sanctuary, I believe is the card. It's right there. As well as Fatality is a beautiful Breaker canceler. So it's just playing another foundation, which Cassie is very good at. My final thoughts on the character. Cassie Cage is a very good deck. Cassie Cage is strong. Cassie Cage, I believe, is the thinking man's deck. I believe if you're going to play Cassie Cage, you got to be in your right mind. You got to be focused, very focused on the game, because it's possible that if you make one small mistake, if you give speed instead of damage, if you add the wrong foundation, if you stack your cards in the wrong way, if you miss a trigger of doing whatever, on paper, she's not that strong until her kit works, until she starts putting in, until she starts ramping up, until her game plan starts being engaged. Her defense is not that amazing. Her offense is okay. Her disruption is almost non-existent. She wants to play this game plan type deck. And if you can make that happen, Cassie Cage is the best damn deck in UniVersus. And I totally think you should give her a try. Thank you for watching.